Over 100,000 in fiscal year 2024, and we never heard complaints from Senator Kaine. We never heard complaints from Democrats. We only heard complaints when last week a group of 59 South African refugees arrived on U.S. soil. Why? What does it not just reveal about the problems in South Africa, but the problems here at home with the Democrat Party in the United States? One of those 59 refugees from South Africa was Alexander Bolter, and he joins me now. Alexander, thanks for being with us, and welcome to the United States. I would love to ask you, as you listen to some of the sound we played today from the Oval Office, what is your reaction to the president of South Africa?
I think he did a very bad job today. I think President Trump was ready with the receipts. I think he could have brought a bit more. I think specifically talking about how Julius Malema, how he not only has not done anything against him, but he's also openly said that he endorses Malema, that he is ANC at heart, that he wants Julius Malema back into the ANC. So he's not only not said anything against him, he's come out in support of him.
And
he's also made mention.
Go ahead.
Sorry. He's also made mention, and I wish that President Trump had also showed this, that he will boil the Afrikaners like a frog. So it's not just that he doesn't know what's going on or that he doesn't understand. He knows what's going on. He's doing this intentionally.
So Julius Malema, for anyone listening, is the opposition party in South Africa. He was dismissed this afternoon as a small political minority. He has outlandishly called for violence towards white farmers, the death, the murder of white farmers, and as you just shared with us as well, boiling white farmers like a frog. Let's learn about your personal experience, Alexander. What happened with you and your family in South Africa?
Okay, well, I grew up on a farm. Mostly. When I was very young, I wasn't on a farm. And then when I was around maybe 12, we moved to a farm until I was about 17. We left because of the attacks. You can't stay on a farm as a white person in South Africa. You know you'll be killed. And eventually my father said it's not worth it. We have to just flee. So he went over to Zambia, and we stayed in South Africa to try to get an education, finish things up. But I've been the victim of many attacks. When I was 7 years old, it's probably my youngest experience. I was hospitalized at the school because I went to the bathroom and I was attacked by black students because they did not believe I should be there. So that was, I've been attacked many times after that as well, but it also goes to show even the children are indoctrinated into believing that white people are the enemy and that we are evil. And it's, I've never felt welcome in South Africa. I've always felt targeted.
You said that you knew, or your father knew, that staying on a farm in South Africa meant death. It meant murder. Tell me about that. Why is that such a presumption?
Well, it's common knowledge. You can talk to any farmer and they will tell you every single one of them knows multiple farmers who have been brutally executed, tortured to death, have their children tortured to death. It's the worst kinds of killings. And when politicians also sing songs about kill the farmer, kill the boer, you know they are targeting you. And you can talk to any farmer in South Africa, just ask them about the security measures they have in place, and you will be shocked. They're the most prepared people on earth for an attack, and they're still being slaughtered. So we know we are targeted. We know that you will be killed.
Now, Alexander, the South African president today almost dismissed your experience and what you've described to us as criminality. He said we don't stand for criminality, but it is criminality. That still, there are government policies, as mentioned by President Trump, that allow a population. First, there are politicians who inflame the population, as you pointed out, but there are also policies, are there not, that allow them to confiscate your farm?
Yes, expropriation without compensation was passed last year. Somewhat illegally. It didn't go through the constitutional manner. And that allows for any property. It's not actually just land, like some people claim. It's property. They even specify that it's not land. So it can be a pension, it can be a house, it can be a car, it can be the clothes off your back. They can take it with nil compensation. Now, originally, they tried to pass expropriation with zero compensation, and they said, no, that's unconstitutional. So they said, okay, we will do it with nil compensation, and nil can be a form of compensation. Now, to me, null means nothing, but the South African government disagrees. Another thing I'd like to add onto that, they say it is just crime. Okay, and South Africa has some of the worst crime in the world. That's a fact. But white farmers are 4 times more likely to be killed than the average person in South Africa. And bear in mind as well, every single white farmer in South Africa has enormous amounts of protection. They have barbed wire, electric fences, dogs, cameras, alarms, they've got radios, they've got groups patrolling, and they're still being slaughtered at enormous rates. So it's not just crime. You can't pretend it's just crime.
Well, last question for you, Alexander. Can you imagine at any point in your future, do you see the circumstances under which you will return to South Africa?
You see, it's very difficult, because I would prefer not to have to leave South Africa. I'd prefer to be a South African, because that's where my forefathers lived. It's the country they built. But there's no hope for us. I don't believe they will ever try to fix things. I believe we've been scapegoated. They've decided white people are to blame, and therefore we must keep pushing this narrative so that no one looks at the reason why South Africa is failing. The corruption, the state capture, all of these things. They don't want anyone to look at that. And so they've scapegoated us. And I don't believe they're ever going to change that, because changing that would admitting they are the reason that the country has failed.
Alexander Bolter, thank you so much, and welcome to America.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.